not let you get away with this.
Well, bye.
Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Well, the tears are flowing. They are so salty and delicious. Tasting the delicious tears of the leftist, feminist, activist news site, Buzzfeed, going bankrupt and laying off everybody. So all the green and blue and yellow and red-haired people are out looking for new jobs. You'll notice the model I found does not look like any of them because she doesn't have a bunch of tattoos or piercings, and she's actually in shape and pretty. So that's not like anything that is actually on the website. So we're going to start here. The distribution of headline themes. I'm just going to touch on a bunch of stuff here at the top of this. They talk a lot about numbers like astrology, food, emotional trust, social media sites, emotion, funny, gender, women, female celebrities, and they basically, sex, beauty, but over time they turned into a rather lefty kind of ultra feminist hating on man crap-tastic website. And as I've talked about finances for the last, year or two, every once in a while I do a video where I say, guys, here's the thing with the interest rates going up and with venture capitalism drying out because people can't keep giving money away for free, they're going to stop giving away money. And when that happens, there's a lot of zombie companies such as Vice and Buzzfeed and Huffington Post and some of these others that are going to dry up and go away. And I've said it multiple times, and the proof is right here in the pudding. I'm going to read this financial stuff, and then we'll get to the main story here. But they say they did some cuts and layoffs and things, but they raised $3.5 million in 2008 through Hearst Ventures and SoftBank. And again, ventures, that's venture capitalism. In 2011, they earned $15.5 million in funding from New Enterprise Associates, Lehrer Ventures, Hearst Interactive, SoftBank, and RRE Capital to expand the site's content. That's, again, venture capital. It's free money. It's like, we're going to give you money, but we expect a return. And they say in 2014, they raised $50 million from venture capital firm Andreessen Horowitz, more than doubling the previous round of funding. The site was reportedly valued around $850 million by the same company. And then we come down here. NBC Universal made a $200 million equity investment. So they were never profitable. It's just, it looks like a bunch of other companies gave them money. In 2017, I think they did another venture capital thing, and they talk about various different, acquisitions and stuff. And BuzzFeed announced that they would acquire Huffington Post in a stock deal. So HuffPost, and I have to think at some point, is also going to drift away. But what makes this so fun is these are the women that write all the horrible headlines that I've read many times here, making fun of men and lifting up empowered, strong women, telling everybody that anybody that dislikes anything or doesn't agree with the LDHD TV community is evil and toxic. Anybody that doesn't believe everything is being pushed today. And now they're on their way out. And there's a lot more venture capital stuff I could post from here, but it doesn't matter. BuzzFeed, let me see if I can zip this up a little bit bigger for you. From The Guardian, BuzzFeed News to close and parent company to make substantial layoffs. So not only is BuzzFeed News closing, but the company that I guess owns them is going to make layoffs. That's the first sign of being in survival mode, saving money. BuzzFeed is shutting down what remains of its award-winning news department. Might have been, but they might have gotten an award from somebody else's on the extreme left, or we praise you for your feminism. He said the whole company's been hit by the bug: a troubled stock market listing, a tough economy, a declining stock market, a slowdown in digital advertising, and changing audience habits. Now let's break that down a little bit. The bug: people are at home more; they'd be able to read more. They were stuck at home. Troubled stock market, it's hit a little bit of a rough economy, but not much. I mean, we're still way above where we should be. A tough economy, not yet. It's getting there. Declining stock market, that's the same thing you already said once. Slowdown in digital advertising, maybe a little bit. Peretti suggested that there may not be a sustainable business model for high quality online news, he said. Okay. I made the decision to over-invest in Buzzfeed News because I love their work and mission so much. This made me slow to accept the big platforms wouldn't provide the distribution or financial support required to support premium, free journalism purpose-built for social media. And again, they're trying to garner clicks and likes, so they've done what all the others have and pandered to the left and to feminism and all the other stuff. They raise hundreds of millions of pounds from investors. It surfed the explosion of social networks such as Facebook and Twitter. But after a while, again, they're crap. You can only fool people for so long. BuzzFeed was famous for clickbaity headlines. And then you get to the story, and it's like a paragraph of nothing. So people, they earn the ad revenue from people clicking on its links. So eventually, people got so numb to the ridiculous stuff that they were posting in their headlines that people just tapped out and they said, I'm not even going to click on this stuff anymore. And that's why, like they were talking about up here, that the digital advertising is slowing down because people aren't buying ads. They're not getting the click-throughs that they wanted. They say the expansive process involved hundreds of journalists around the world and accumulated the company a Pulitzer Prize for its reporting. Peretti said he regretted not holding the company to higher standards for profitability and said he exhausted many other cost-saving measures to preserve as many jobs as possible. So again, they admit they don't have very high standards. And he says for profitability, but let's be honest, it's high standards for news. You know, Vice used to be a good news outlet. Maybe BuzzFeed was at one point as well. But what happens, and this has been explained in other videos, but they'll say men are bad. And then they go, men are toxic. And then men are poison. And then men are holding women back. And men are this, and men are this. And they always have to up themselves by one level. Otherwise, you're just going to say, oh, I've seen stuff like this before. They need to make it worse. A good example that Tim Pool, whether you like him or not, will use is Donald Trump, because they'll say Trump is a bad president. Trump is awful president. Trump is the worst president. The Republicans are, destroying everything, and they just keep reamping everything up. And eventually they can't amp it up anymore, and they just fold. They say BuzzFeed's financial challenges reflect the challenges of the online news industry. At one point in 2014, Disney considered buying the site for around $1 billion, but no deal could be agreed. The company eventually listed on the stock exchange 7 years later when its share price had collapsed, with the business currently valued at less than $100 million. I wonder what their, let's see if I can find what their stock value is here. Just a second. All right, I got it pulled up right here. So when they came out, they had an IPO of, I guess, $10. It never increased over $10. And then it sank, and it sank, and remember, this stock value is sinking, even getting all these hundreds of millions of dollars of venture capitalism put into it. Now it's worth 75 cents. 1/10, less than 1/10. What's that, 1/30th of what it began with? It's nothing, it's done. Let's see, do they have anything more on this article? No, not really. That's about it. And for fun, I'll show you this. This is the same. Now, this is from a guy that posted this up. His name is King. He's got 192 subscribers. But this video's got 50,000 views. So for a dude that has only 192 subscribers, that's a huge number of views for that small a channel. And the same thing, again, is going to happen to Vice and Huffington Post and all these other crazy sites. It's even happening to sites like CNN, MSNBC. Because all it takes, and this is what's important. Let me just mention this while I think of it. This is what's important, because people are finding this out. All it takes is one mistake or lie that you personally know about. That's all it takes. So if you were, I don't know, I can't think of any real world experiences, but if you were standing, I don't know, listening to a speech, or you were at an event, and something happens, and you're there, and you see with your own eyes what happens, and then you read on a website. Again, now, some of you might say Fox News is the same. I'm not going to argue. It depends on what you like to watch. But at some point, you're going to watch something, and you're going to say, wait a minute, I was there. They're lying about this. And then you lose that credibility. It's the same thing when a woman, cheats on you once, and she says, oh, it was a one-time mistake. You can trust me. It'll never happen again. Do you ever really trust that person? Now, some people try to, and they continue on with their relationship, which I think is stupid. But there's always going to be that seed of doubt in your mind when they say, I've got to work late, or I'm going out with just the girls, or I'm going on a business trip. At that point, you're on shaky ground. So, I think that's what happens to a lot of these companies, and I don't feel bad. Anyway, this guy, he's got him sitting here. He's got soy. He reaches down. He can't figure out what to do for a story, so he reaches down into a box, pulls out we'll just say a implementation used in the bedroom. He closes his eyes, covers up his eyes. I'm going to mute this, and I'll just play it for a second. And he throws it at the wall, and it's like, well, poor country, Venezuela. Minority, the trans and drug is ketamine, and there it is. So Vice is doing it too. Vice is going along. They're going along the same route. I would tell you to expect a lot more of this happening over the next 6 months, years. You've got the biggest companies, the biggest income companies, right? At Twitter at one point was profitable until Elon took it over, and then they lost, but it'll come back, I think, and he overpaid for it. Facebook is struggling. Meta is way down. They're doing another round of layoffs. I'm trying to think of some other ones. Amazon is. Their movie franchise is horrible. I mean, the Lord of the Rings remake, whatever it was, I don't even remember the name of it, was horrible. Marvel Studios, HBO, Paramount, they're all struggling. And there's only so much venture capital. I mean, it is a money sink. And yes, when you've got someone that's got billions and billions and billions of dollars to put into this stuff, you can say, yeah, that money will last a long, long time. I get that. But at a certain point, the ones that really don't have that strong of a message or narrative they're trying to push will start bowing out. The rest of them, Disney is now doubling and tripling and quadrupling down on their message. I really look to see what's going to happen with their stock, because they've fallen off a cliff as well. Bud Light got punched in the face recently. And with the economy tightening, people are going to be very selective with their money. And as they become more selective with their money, it's not going to get spread around nearly as much. And then these companies are not able to borrow the money. They're not able to borrow the money to keep going, and they don't have the revenue to keep going, and they're going to fold, or their stock price is going to fall off a cliff. I haven't looked up Twitter or Netflix or any of these others, but they're struggling. And Netflix has eased off a lot. At one point, they were kind of doing the Disney route, going all in on some of this garbage. And they saw things fall off really quick, and they changed their minds. But the thing is, when things like movies and TV shows and Netflix specials are in production, sometimes that can take a year or two for it to go through writing, filming, editing, marketing, and release. That's a process that can sometimes take a year or 2 or 3. And as a matter of fact, if you look at the new Indiana Jones movie that's coming out, that's going to be an absolute train wreck. They've had to rewrite that thing 5 or 6 times. It's going to have to make close to $800 million to $1 billion just to break even, because of production costs and re-recording different segments, because they're trying to fix it was too woke. And they realized if they released it now, it was going to flop. People are learning. And again, it's a big ship. It's going to take a long time to turn. It's not a motorboat that's tiny and can change direction because it's a 50-employee company. When you've got thousands or tens of thousands or even 100,000 employees, it takes a long time to steer that ship, especially when you have activists and the crazies in there trying to fight you from turning the ship. As things tighten, and in a good, I'll finish with this. And it's a very good time for the economy to take a crap. And I don't mean it's going to be a good time for us. I mean, in many ways, I'm actually quite frightened of what can come out of this, because things are looking pretty rough. If you look at some of the metrics, it's going to be substantially worse than 2008. But the good saving grace of it is when it's happening now, especially when all the woke stuff is being pushed, money's going away and things are going to get very tight. And people are going to have to change what kind of products they put out, what kind of headlines they write, what kind of articles they write, or they're going to be in a lot of trouble, because the free money is gone. And I think it's good timing, because now hopefully they will tie in the message the feminism and the LGHD TV community and what they want to do with kids and the politics and everything. Hopefully that is they associate the failing of movies and articles and TV and things with that. And in many cases, I think it's actually true, because if you look at HBO, it's fallen off. If you look at Disney, it's fallen off. If you look at Marvel, it's fallen off. People call it fatigue, but at the same time, they also said, oh, it's because of the movie theaters being closed down and people aren't going to the movie experience. But the problem is then something like Top Gun Maverick comes out, blows everything away. Avatar, Way of Water, or whatever it's called, that did very well. Didn't have really too strong a message in it. The Mario movie, that's on track to maybe break $1 billion. Now, yeah, it's a little bit of, Princess Peach is amazing and can do all these things, but it's not a very strong message. I mean, I think you'd actually have to look for that message to find it. Other than that, it's just a good kids movie. I think box offices are going to start to learn. These companies that write this crap are going to learn. TV, music. I think they're going to learn a tough lesson. At least I'm hoping so. Maybe it brings back things around, and we'll see what track we're on. Okay, I'm going to do a dating profile of the day. So if you're on YouTube, at least go to Rumble. They actually pay. They're actually paying content creators like myself more on Rumble now than they are on YouTube. They keep 10% less, I think, from the ads that they show. I think they give us content creators 10% more. And you don't have as many ads over there. And there's no censorship over there. So make sure you're at least supporting Rumble or going over there to watch the content creators that are over there. And then for the ones you can't find over there that you normally watch, then come back and watch YouTube for them. And then if you want to get away from all of that, we've got betterbachelor.locals.com. Great community over there. Lots of guys having a good time. We've got forums, we've got memes, we've got discussions. It's free to sign up if you want to just come over and check it out. You need an email address, that's all. But if you want to join up, it's $5 a month. It's less than a cup of coffee. You get to join a great group of guys, and you will be supporting me so that I can continue to do what I do without the need for YouTube. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next one.